This is your day. Fucking enjoy it. Ready? Go.
Okay, off we go.
We head for the sky, it's alright. Our wings wouldn't fly, it's alright. If we are crashing down again. Pieces of love.
We're in Damascus, downtown, standing in front of one of the iconic welcoming banners that gets rolled out every year for the Yeti 100 by the local towns. These communities are so supportive and so welcoming to all the runners. There's about 360 runners signed up for the Yeti 100, plus crews and family members and support, aid station volunteers, etc. So really great local support for the event. Hey guys, so I'm here at the Yeti 100 packet pickup. It's Thursday afternoon, about 5 p.m. This is so exciting. Finish line is right here. Hopefully I'll be coming through that sometime Saturday morning, who knows what time. There's a lot of swag here, I understand. You're legal, right? You're 21? Because I don't want to get this on film if you're not.
I'm 21. I got gray hair to prove it.
Okay. All right. So this is my first one. I'm so excited.
Yay!
Yay!
Well, welcome.
I signed up for the 50, the damn 50, and you know what happened to that one, right?
Yeah.
That was going to be my first one. So,
well,
I'm stepping right up to the big one.
All right.
Yeah, right there in the middle.
203.
Oh, awesome.
He needs a large bag. You know what I'm saying? And a large extra t-shirt. Here's your number. 203.
Okay.
And is this your first Yeti race?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jason does not take care of his people.
No, I've been on the Facebook page. I know he takes amazing care.
On everything.
Yeah.
So this is all yours.
Holy
So take one of each.
cow. Wow.
Here's your
Thank you so much.
trick-or-treating bag.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
And good luck
This is
tomorrow.
great. Yes, thank you so much.
I'm volunteering at Taylor's Valley, so
This is just awesome. These are key.
What year was this? 2017, 18, somewhere in there.
all right.
I forget.
288.
So look at these.
Let's see. Amy gets a medium bag with a medium sweatshirt.
They're beautiful.
Got some pins. Awesome.
I know he's famous for stickers.
Yes.
Everybody's always like on the Facebook page like, Jason, can you make some stickers?
This one is my favorite one. Jesse
Yeah.
took this one last year.
Okay.
And it's actually, he has huge prints of them that are for sale.
Yeah.
Stickers.
This is like Christmas.
Isn't it?
Seriously, in September.
And even brought back the old coin.
Oh yeah.
Coin bag.
Oh my God. Oh my
How
God.
are you doing? Good, how are you? I'm doing all right. You ready for your big day tomorrow? Here's your socks.
Okay, thank you.
And
Wow.
here's your race hat, complete with the pocket at the top.
Yeah, I know what that's for.
Yeah.
You explained that. So,
And
It's for
then,
hiding bottles of Fireball, right?
exactly.
Really?
Here's your
Okay.
lady socks.
Thank you.
And then your hat.
Thank you.
And then if you want an extra happy running.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I tell you, I've been running races for 30 years, and I've never seen packet pickup and swag like I have for the Yeti 100. This is absolutely awesome.
Good morning, guys. It's Friday. It's showtime. It's about 3:30 a.m. I haven't been able to sleep other than maybe a couple of hours. It's been pouring rain all day. The weather forecast for the race is temperatures in the 50s and torrential downpour, I would say, for at least a third to half of the race, from 5 a.m. race start all the way through to probably early to mid-afternoon. So we'll see how it goes. makes things a little bit tougher. Getting my coffee and breakfast ready, and then finishing packing the car and heading to downtown Damascus for the 5 a.m. race start. So for my breakfast, I brought my coffee setup, my grinder and my coffee machine from home, and organic whole bean Ethiopian coffee. For breakfast, very simple, down in coffee yogurt, a banana, and a whole grain peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we'll get the show on the road. Just checking real quick on my latest YouTube video upload. On Thursday, I created a short video about my race goals and strategies. My Wi-Fi connection here at the cabin is extremely limited, so it's been literally taking probably from 4 p.m. on Thursday until now. It's 3:30 a.m. and it looks like it's about almost 70% uploaded. So this will go live around 5 p.m. on Friday. So by the time you see this video, the goals and strategies video should be live already.
So we're hanging out at the start. It's about 4:30 a.m. Starts at 5. People are starting to filter in. We'll still be dark for next 2.5 hours. So we can see some folks bringing their drop bags in. The Damascus aid station. Yours truly, bags, 3 bags. 2-minute countdown, ready for the start. I gotcha.
2 things today. Trains don't make lefts and they don't make rights. Neither should you. Okay, you're going to turn around at Green Cove. There's an aid station there. It's also the picture on your bib. Okay, so when you come back down to this aid station at mile 28, you will not return back up the mountain. You'll do the repeats down here. At Alvarado, when you go past a mile, you turn around on the big bridge. There'll be somebody there the first time and a sign. If you need to understand what a big ass bridge is, then you'll understand when you're in the middle of it, okay? I really appreciate all of you coming. Everyone here has worked so fucking hard to be here. It has a lot of guts just to stand here today. This is your day. Fucking enjoy it. Ready? Go.
Okay, off we go. Now we're off. And we gotta take this slow. We're gonna follow other people. First ultra, don't need to be in the front. The adrenaline is crazy. Slow down. So just past the 5 mile point in about 53:30. So somewhere around 10:30, 11-minute pace, just ahead of pace for me. I have 2 more miles to the Taylor's Valley aid station. Take a quick break there. 7 mile point, Taylor's Valley aid station. Hip hip hooray. All right. Cowbells. Great support, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any porta johns here? Do you know?
What was that?
Porta johns for us?
Oh no, I don't think there's any here.
Okay. All right.
No.
All right.
Keep going.
Okay.
Next one.
All right.
7 more.
Look at it.
You got this. So we're gonna head up to Green Cove, 14-mile turnaround point, and hope we have some porta johns. It's been raining the whole time, and between running at night, running in rain, and running the first 14 miles up towards White Top Mountain, 3% grade, definitely 3 challenges right in the beginning. So hopefully it'll be daylight on the way back, and not sure about the rain. I think it might get worse, but the daylight will help and the downhill will help. I'm running this unsupported, so I'm relying on the aid stations and my drop bag. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit of daylight. Past the 10-mile point in an hour and 51 minutes. So way ahead of pace. Had to take a bathroom break, a bit long. So gave some time back. This hill climb is just brutal. Definitely starts to catch up with you. 3% grade, and at night and in the rain, and the trails are flooded. So it's challenging to navigate with the water coming down the trail and the rocks. So looking forward to getting some daylight, and less than 4 miles to go to the turnaround point, and then we'll be going downhill. So having my first fueling break, eating a Cliff Bar, been hydrating, and we'll start going again in a minute here. Quick bathroom break. We're at Green Cove, 14.3. Gotta wait our turn. That's a line of 2 people. Here's the Green Cove train station and the aid station. Do we need to check in? Do you know?
You know, I don't. Usually you don't.
So the first 14.3 miles was brutal. The combination of darkness, torrential downpour, and the 3% grade was just a lot. I felt it in the legs when I arrived at Green Cove aid station, and I knew I'd gone out too fast. With the brakes, I was running at around a 12-minute pace, which would have put me on 20 hours for the full 100 miles. So we left the Green Cove aid station, 14.3 miles, about 2 hours and 54 minutes, so under 3 hours in, and we reached the maximum elevation. And this hill, this 14-mile hill at 3% grade, most of it in the dark, rain, was tough. It was brutal. Definitely put something into my legs. I can feel it. Now we're going the same 14 miles back downhill to Damascus, and the race director, Jason Green, warned us, take it easy going downhill. Don't want to set a PR at 50 miles. Damascus will be 28. So got to be careful with the quads going down. Don't want to hit the wall at 28 and be done. Got a long ways to go. So gonna pack the camera away and start heading down the hill and maintaining our goal pace and seeing if we can do this up 24. We got this. Just a little past 16 miles, heading downhill, enjoying the bucolic scenery here. These farms. Morning, how you doing? Pick another farm. Hayes in the barn. Good job. we're rolling. We're rolling. Next aid station at 21 miles. Teller Valley. How you doing? Good job, guys. So quite a few going down, coming up. Good job, gotcha. Good job. Everybody supporting each other on the way up, on the way down. Went across one of these famous trestles, a small one. Virginia Creeper Trail is famous for, I believe, over 130 trestles along the trail. So this is a small one. There's some that are just huge. Hey guys, I think I hit my first low. Passed 25 miles in 5 hours and 8 minutes. Still ahead of pace, but starting to struggle. Not mentally. Mentally, I feel great. Physically, I think that mountain kicked my ass. Definitely was harder than I expected. With the 14 miles up and the 14 miles down, up, you know, burnt a lot of energy. And then on the way down, just my quads, my glutes, my hams, just feeling it. So at about 21 miles, I started to change my strategy. Up to that point, I've been running most of it, taking very little walking breaks, but now I'm alternating walking and running, trying to stay still close to that pace so I don't give everything that I banked back. See how long I can keep it. But you know, it's quarter of the way done, which is scratching the surface. Got 75 miles to go. I can tell you that this is, for my first 100, definitely a humbling experience. I've done long runs, 20 to 25 miles, a couple of 25 milers, a few 23 milers on rail to trails, and didn't feel like this. So definitely the mountain makes a difference, and the rain and running at dark, but no excuses. Gotta keep going, gotta keep rolling, keep it positive. It's starting to rain again, pretty steady. The downhill was no easier than the uphill. Although I used up less energy running downhill, the pounding on the quads, the hams, the glutes, and the knees took their toll on me, and I had my first low point at 25 miles, which was still about 3 miles out from the Damascus aid station. In addition, I was having major GI issues and had to stop several times, both on the uphill and again on the downhill. I passed 25 miles in about 5 hours and 8 minutes, so I was still running at around 12 minute per mile pace, or about 20 hours for the full 100 miles. Running up and down the mountain for the first 28-mile loop definitely kicked my ass, and it was a totally humbling experience. Hey guys, just left the Damascus aid station. It was a little bit of a long break. Let's say about 20 minutes. I had to change my clothes, totally soaking wet. Socks, shoes, shorts, shirt, put on a long sleeve shirt, and a waterproof jacket. It's still raining, and with the alternating walking and running, need to stay warm. I also picked up the charger for my Garmin 235, so I'm charging it with this little charger. Totally tied up in the aid station. Couldn't find a chair, so I was doing all the changing, squatting on the ground, the wet ground, not very comfortable. and being there for 20 minutes, totally froze up, locked up, muscles totally locked up. So it's going to take me a little bit of a while to get going again. I'm about 6.5 hours in, about 30 miles, so about 3 point something miles to the first third of the 100. And we're going to continue the strategy of just alternating the walking and the running, and still trying to maintain that 24-hour pace. We'll see how far I can keep that going. So trail is pretty flat here along the river, so it should be some good running. I passed the 30-mile mark about 2 miles after leaving the Damascus aid station, which was a psychological point for me for 2 reasons. One, it was 5 more miles than I've ever done on my longest training run. And 2, it was almost a third of the way through the race. Changing clothes and shoes was more of a mental thing, knowing full well that it was useless, and within a mile, with the rain still coming down very hard, everything would be soaking wet again. My muscles cramped and locked up in the aid station, and it took me a little bit of a while of walking and jogging to get back into it. But running on relatively flat ground at this point helped me recover from the first 28 miles going up and down a mountain. We're almost at 32 miles. I was around 31.1 miles, which I think is roughly a 50K at sub 6 hour, 50-minute pace. Never done a 50K. My longest run's been 25 miles. I still have to keep going, so it wasn't necessarily aiming for a 50K time, but just nice to know, something to think about for a future 50K race. So we're continuing the strategy of alternating running and walking, and I normally run around 3 minutes, and then walk for 3 minutes, and then run for 3 minutes, and so on. And my running pace is around 10:30, but again, we're trying to go 100 miles. We're not trying to do a road marathon or a 50K. And my walking, depending on whether it's going up or down or flat, is around 17. So my kind of blended mile average has been around 13.5 minutes. Sub 24 hour target pace is around 14 minutes and 20 seconds. So I think we're still good. 8 hours in. Started at 5 a.m. It's 1 p.m. 8 hours. 36 miles. 36.75 miles in 8 hours. So still running ahead. Definitely in a pain cave at this point. Definitely physically hurting. Mentally, I'm strong. I'm good. But physically, not great. It's been raining for 8 freaking hours. Non-stop downpour. Second pair of shoes and socks totally soaked again. So you can see the trail is just flooded in a lot of places, and it's kind of when you're tired, you don't want to run through the puddles. It makes it worse. The shoes get even heavier. But having to run around these things and pay attention, it's just adds to the struggle. Let's get to 40 miles. See how we're doing. We passed the Alvarado aid station a while ago, so we have to. There's a turnaround point coming up soon, and then we'll head back to past Alvarado again, and then back to Damascus. 8 hours in, and it was good news, bad news. The good news was I was a third of the way time-wise, but mileage-wise I was ahead about 36.75 miles, so still on sub 24-hour pace. That bad news was I was in a serious pain cave. I knew at this point maintaining my sub 24 would be a real struggle. Yeti turnaround point. Went across one of the big trestles. This thing is huge.
You want one of you? No. Okay.
Thought I'd ask. I felt bad when I walked up.
Good job. Yeah, this thing is like a quarter mile across. So we're heading back to Damascus. We're approaching 38 miles. I just passed 38 miles, which is a turnaround point across from the Watauga Trestle, heading back to Alvarado and then back to Damascus. This was important psychologically for me for two reasons. One, I knew that I was heading back to Damascus, completing my first of the small loops, and two, by the time I get back to Damascus, I'd be around 46 miles or close to half of the race. Just past 46 miles, we're coming back to the Damascus aid station. We're at 10 hours and 11 minutes, and I'm seriously struggling. It's still raining, and I'm low on fuel, so definitely need some food here to keep going. Food and dry clothes and socks and shoes. I will see how I feel. So I'm not going to film the next loop. I did a 28-mile loop and an 18-mile loop and a half. Another 18-mile loop. That'll get me from 46 miles to 64, and we'll see how I do on that one. Take it aid station to aid station, one foot in front of the other. I'll leave my GoPro and my drop bag and check back with you after the next loop. I was approaching the Damascus aid station around 46 miles and feeling absolutely terrible. I was low on fuel, low on energy, starting to get dizzy, and having trouble just walking and running. I think what kept me going was the thought of some hot broth or some hot soup, some potato chips, and some Coke at the aid station. Hey guys, we are leaving the Damascus aid station, and we've got 64 miles done, 36 to go. So we're heading out on the small loop number 3 out of 4. That'll take us from 64 miles all the way to 82 miles. I checked into the Damascus aid station after loop 1 when I was at 46 miles, and I left my GoPro and my drop bag. Decided not to film the second loop, but I'm going to take you with me on the third loop here, and I can catch you up what happened on the second small loop from miles 46 to 64, 18 miles. And I can also talk to you about what to expect on loop 3, another 18 miles. So it's obviously nighttime out. We left the Damascus aid station about 16 hours and 13 minutes. I spent quite a bit of time there on this last stop. I actually cruised in about 15 hours and 15 minutes. So I spent an hour plus in the aid station. Most of that was first aid that I had to administer myself. They don't really have first aid station here. I was fortunate enough to get some hydrogen peroxide, and the rest I brought myself. Just to catch you up, because of the torrential downpours for the first 12 hours of the race, everyone's feet got totally trashed. It didn't matter if we had change of shoes and change of socks. Put new stuff on, within a mile, it was waterlogged and soaked. So I was running in wet socks and shoes for probably 12 hours before the rain abated a little bit. Because of running on trails for that long, my feet were totally trashed. I had not only blisters on the ball of my foot and every toe on each foot, but I also had a lot of cracks at the bottom of my feet. Unfortunately, because of the running on the trails, there's some dirt that got in there, so I had to disinfect them, which is quite painful, and then lubricate them as best I could and put on clean socks and shoes. Right now, I'm hoping that with the fixing up my feet, that I can walk another 36 miles to 2 loops to complete my first ultramarathon, the Yeti 100. At this point, running is out of the question. It's painful to walk. We're talking probably an 8 on a pain scale. Good, a little bit about my time goals. That went out the window. I passed 50 miles in about 11 hours and 29 minutes. So I had about 31 minutes cushion towards my sub 24 goal. After that, my feet started very quickly hurting because of what I just mentioned, and I had to resort to more walking and jogging and walking and jogging. Whatever cushion I had, I very quickly gave that back by averaging probably 16-minute miles from 50 on up. I came into the Damascus aid station at 64 miles with my feet totally trashed. By that point, it had been raining for about 12 hours straight. Everyone's feet were totally trashed. I could barely walk. On a pain scale, it felt like about 8. When I took my shoes and socks off, I had 1/4-inch cracks running the entire bottom of my feet that had started to fill up with grit from the trails. I needed to use hydrogen peroxide to clean everything out, and some antibacterial soap and Aquaphor to try to repair my feet as best I could. I used a safety pin from my bib, disinfected it, and popped probably about a dozen blisters on both of my feet. It took me an hour plus just to fix my 2 feet, have some hot soup, have a couple of quesadillas, which, by the way, shout out to the aid stations. They were amazing in terms of just taking care of people, first class. And I felt good leaving the aid station at 64 miles and heading back out for my 3rd loop. By the time I left the aid station at 64 miles, my sub 24 goal was out the window, and I was aiming just to finish the 100 miles. And I knew I had plenty of cushion. I didn't have to worry about the 30-hour cutoff time, but my goal was just to finish.
You okay?
No.
No?
No, I cannot walk anymore. My left hip collapsed. So I told Yeah, I couldn't even walk. I was stumbling.
Do you have somebody come in to help?
A couple of runners that went to the aid station, but if you can also let them know number
Absolutely.
203.
203.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I am so sorry.
Yeah, it's a big bummer. I was doing great. I knew heading out on my third loop would be critical for me. It was starting to get dark. I had 18 miles to take me from 64 miles to 82 miles, and I knew if I could finish that third loop in reasonably good shape, physically and mentally, I could take it from 82 up to 100. As I left the aid station, my feet felt rejuvenated, and I was reasonably comfortable to walk. However, another 4 miles in, around 68, 69 miles, the wheels started to come off. I started to struggle with my balance as I was walking, and my left hip completely collapsed, and I was leaning very much left and unable to walk a straight line. I was able to keep going for about another mile. It got progressively worse. My lower back was in extreme pain. My hip was in pain. And I was just unable to walk at all. By that point, I knew my race was over, and it was just a matter of getting to the Alvarado aid station at mile 71. But I was just literally going 100 feet at a time, and often I had to sit on a rock just to take the pressure off my back or my hip to even allow me to keep going. There were times I could just not physically move anymore. Those last 2 miles took me over an hour, and when I checked into the Alvarado aid station, it was done. It was over. It was really disappointing to end the race because mentally and physically, other than my hip, I was fine. The muscle and knee issues I experienced after I went up and down the mountain, the feet that were trashed from the rain, everything was starting to feel fine. And I was actually getting a second wind and really excited to push those last 36 miles and finish the race and earn a belt buckle. Let's talk about some takeaways and things I need to change and do better. I'd like to group them into 3 things: planning, training, and racing. Running a 100-miler as my first ultramarathon was not a good plan. Unfortunately, that was a little bit outside of my control. I'd originally signed up for the Yeti 50-miler in June, but COVID canceled that race like so many other races. The plan all along was to run the 50 in June and then the 100 at the end of September. Had COVID not canceled that race, things might have turned out a little bit different, and I might have learned my lessons in June in a 50-miler and made the adjustments over the next 3 months and being able to complete the 100-miler. At this point, it's water under the bridge, but that was not a good plan. Second, training. I was definitely undertrained. One of the things I was told again and again before and during the race was 100-milers is a whole different level. Respect the distance. It's not a 50K, it's not a 50-miler, it's not a 100K. I passed all of those before my hip gave out, but a 100-miler, it's just a whole different ballgame. I was undertrained in 4 different ways. The first is volume. Since recovering from my debilitating plantar fasciitis injury last summer, which took me out of running for 2 months, I ran about 1,800 miles over the past 12 months. The peak was 55 miles per week on 6 days, but most of my mileage was between 40 and 50 miles per week, always on 6 days. The second was my long runs. My longest long run was 25 miles, and most of my long runs were between 20 and 25, but I probably had too few, and I never went beyond 25. The third is my vertical gains. I live in Connecticut. I think the highest peak in Connecticut is about 1,200 feet. So it's flat as a pancake, and it's really hard to get vert here in Connecticut. On my long runs, my 25-mile long runs, I might get about 1,000 feet. The fourth area is core and strength. I did a combined core and strength session once per week, which was clearly not enough. Now let's talk about racing. The Yeti 100 kicked my ass. I was not ready for sub 24. I didn't execute the race well. Through 25 miles, I was on a 20-hour pace. Through 50 miles, I was on a 23-hour pace. By 71 miles, I DNF'd. I spent way too much time in aid stations. Yes, some of that had to do with the weather conditions and having to fix my feet. But looking at my Strava and Garmin Connect, I probably spent more than 3 hours in aid stations. So what am I going to change? First, I'm going to ramp up my weekly mileage to 75 miles per week by the end of this year. Second, I'm going to increase my long runs up to 30 miles per week. That doesn't mean I'm going to do a 30 miler every week, probably on alternate weeks, but I need to have my longest run be 30 miles. Third, I'm going to see if I can do some long runs where I have about 4,000 feet of vertical gain, which means I may have to drive several hours to New York State or to Massachusetts and leave Connecticut to do that. Fourth, I'm going to incorporate core exercises into my daily workout. And fifth, I'm going to minimum do 2 strength sessions per week, preferably 3. There are a lot of lessons learned from my Yeti 100 Ultra experience. I'm grateful and looking forward to my next one. Thanks for watching.